Blessings, my friends and family. AVS here, and what you're about to witness is pretty insane, in my opinion. I looked more into this, and the more I looked into it, the more it started to all connect together. And, well, if this is true, something needs to be done about this immediately and legally. Take a look at this footage on screen right here. These are apparently, allegedly, Hamas fighters turning up at a UN location holding AK-47s, right? And the UN people normally wear blue vests. And what you'll notice is they take off their AK-47s, they put them in the cars, and then they go and do their day job at the UN. This blew my mind. The more I looked into it, the more confirmation I got that this is actually what's going on. Look, this we're going to go through a lot today, by the way. This is just scratching the surface. I'm going to show you this one more time because I see the people who are coming in live. Sometimes the notifications take a little to go out. But look, these are Hamas fighters, allegedly. Look, they're wearing AK-47s. Boom, boom, boom. You see this guy? This is a UN worker. Here are the UN vehicles. The Hamas fighters show up. Talk to the UN workers. Okay? Look. He's got his arm around one here. Another UN worker. Now look at this. Okay, look at this. He's holding an AK-47 in his hand right here. This is a random vehicle. He puts the AK-47 in the vehicle and heads in to the UN building. You seeing this? Look, this is a UN building. And here's another one. UN locations. UNRWA. Now, for those of you who don't know what has been taking place recently, things have been escalating drastically, apparently. And here is another clip that I want to show you. To set some context to this post was posted by Ben on Wine, and he said, this video should send a cold shiver down every Briton's spine. Members of ISIS have entered the UK. They have entered from small boats from France. They are heavily armed and operating on British soil. This is no longer just an immigration crisis, but a national security threat. And as this clip plays out, you'll see more details and more claims about this. And I'm very interested in what you think about this. Let me know in the live chat. And if you're watching on the past broadcast, in the comment section below. Make sure you do hit that thumbs up button as well and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Greatly helps out the channel and it's free for you to do. Let's get into it.
So following on from my video from yesterday, I want to make things extremely clear so people understand where we are at. I have a source that is located in France, which has been able to provide me with very, very damaging and very concerning information, videos and pictures about the migrants and those that traffic them. The information that I'm about to give you will show you that they are making trips through Europe, and that when they land here, they are organized, very well organized in terms of weapons, in terms of cash. Now, one of the things that people need to understand is that terrorist organizations are also benefiting quite highly and quite financially by the trafficking of these people into France. And what we've now found is we seem to have family members of ISIS commanders on the boats heading to England in the last few days.
Now, he's about to show some information that verifies these claims, apparently, okay?
They are talking about a ISIS commander called Al-Awlaki. Anyone that wants to do their research and find out who they're talking about is actually an ISIS commander, who's a very senior ISIS commander. You're going to see the video of them on the boat hailing and talking about this ISIS commander, which in turn means that they are part of the caliphate. And also, those that are on the boat know exactly who he's talking about because they all celebrate it when he says the name. And then you hear him talk about his uncle, which implies that potentially this ISIS commander is his uncle. This is proof that we have even those that are connected to ISIS and ISIS members here in the UK. And it's very important that our security services and our authorities start doing something to tackle this. But on the 16th of May, we have to send a very clear message that our women and children, and even ourselves, are in grave danger, and something needs to be done. Please share this far and wide.
صبر يا عقاب لا يخفاك صبر ولا وسع بالي انا ابن الكل دهرهم ماتوا.
You're about to see it now, the evidence that he's talking about.
الفرح طيف ونسيته وراح من بالي هلي تدور السنين وعيدهم تابوت منهم.
I mean, before we get to the boat bit, if even just looking into these people's eyes, is it just me? Or when you look into these people's eyes, they seem pure evil. They seem to have a hatred that is inhumane. It is shocking that these people are coming to the UK.
26/9/2025 نفرات ابو حسين العراقي بقياده ابو حسين العراقي. عامي واحد اوروبا واحد بريطانيا ابو حسين العراقي.
Okay, so here it is. Apparently, Abu al-Husseini al-Qurashi, Islamic State, served as the fourth caliph of the Islamic State. Okay, and this is who they're apparently talking about here.
مقطع بس ابو حسين العراقي 14/1/2026. يلا يا شباب
تحياتي من ابو حسين
So there you go. They are coming into our land. And who are the UNRWA? Well, this is who they apparently are. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East is a UN agency that supports the relief and human development of Palestinian refugees. Now, does this look like a Palestinian refugee? A guy walking around with an AK-47 on his shoulder? And this guy here? And then just like casually putting it in the truck here before he heads into the UN building? Like, that does not seem like a Palestinian refugee to me. That seems like a fighter. That seems like a soldier, right? And those are the ones coming over to our land. Meanwhile, we have things escalating in our land already, right? We have, well, take a look at this.
As some of you already know, we have made our Manchester Community Watch with over 130 verified members. But we're not going to stop there. I am currently in the process of getting my SIA license because we are creating a security firm to ensure everyone within our community stays safe.
Now, he's obviously talking about the Muslim community, and this is going to be a Muslim security firm. Apparently, they're already doing patrols around the streets, which we know about anyway, but now they're openly saying it, and they're putting it under the guise of, oh, it's a security firm. You know, it's a security firm. Maybe legally it is a security firm. But what do you think about this? Because this just seems to be pretty strange to me.
I want to give a big shout out to Regent Security Force for coming down all the way from Blackburn to show solidarity. Together, we will make a difference. If anyone would like to join our security team, drop me a message. As some of you...
So yeah, that didn't sit right with me. Something was very strange when I watched that. It just seemed like it was a veil. You know what I mean? Anyway, here's some more evidence to back up why I think that what is taking place is two sides. We have the people who are not in our land, and we have the people in our land who are openly telling us that they are against us.
Until we have done everything in our power to bring the United States to its knees, let us not lose sight of the enemy. For every U.S. military base that crumbles, and for every U.S. soldier who returns home in a casket, we cheer.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that absolutely disgusting speech? First of all, this man is in the United States. He's calling the United States his enemy. He's hating us, anybody who is of the Western world. And he is celebrating, apparently, when American soldiers come home in caskets and when American bases are destroyed. I mean, I'm going to play the beginning bit and then let it play all the way through again. Take a look at this. It's disgraceful, honestly.
Until we have done everything in our power to bring the United States to its knees, let us not lose sight of the enemy. For every U.S. military base that crumbles, and for every U.S. soldier who returns home in a casket, we cheer. Hamas, Hezbollah, Ansar-Allah, all of the resistance forces we celebrate. These popular voices on the ground spend every waking moment in direct confrontation with Zionism, and they rely on a strong Iranian state to maintain their fighting capacity.
Do you hate America? May a Hamas rocket blow up your family's home.
Until
You see how evil these people are? Why are they even still in the United States? Why are they even still in the West when they are openly promoting terrorism? Yeah, exactly. They should be arrested immediately. And these types of gatherings should be banned. It's not a joke. And, you know, you have people such as Sneeko, these influencers that I personally believe are being paid large amounts of money to influence the youth and influence young men and even older men to have this mentality of a literal terrorist. And we see this clip here. I'm not going to play it all the way through because it's quite just strange. Talk about brainwashing, right? And he's showing this to his audience. He's promoting it. And it's just Muslim men basically in a quote unquote concert, if you even want to call it that, a hallway, just smacking themselves because that's what they do. You might have seen them doing it out on the streets. They smack their chests and stuff, waiting for their so-called, you know, whoever they believe in to come back. And Sneeko's encouraging it in American soil, calling America the enemy of the people whilst he's in America. I mean, something has to be done here to prevent this from continuing because it's dangerous at this point. It really is. I want to show you this story as well from GB News because it breaks down, well, in quite detail, the troubles and problems with the current state of the nation of the British Kingdom.
Like, you were down
of Great Britain, sorry. And my head's like, I'm so zoned out over that. Like, it's one of those things where, do you know when you lose your train of thought because you're so shocked? I'm like, the British Kingdom, my mind is mind blown right now. Anyway, take a look at this.
Like, you were down, you were at the march or a peaceful protest last week. Similar thing happening again this week. Tell us what happened to you last week, though.
Yeah, last week, before I attended the protest, I informed Metropolitan Police for first time. They always asking me, please let us know. This is because of your safety. If we know where you are, we will, protecting you. Last week on Saturday morning, I informed them I will attend to this protest as a journalist. I want to see who supporting the Islamic Republic. As you know, lots of people claiming asylum in this country. They actually saying we are running away from the Islamic regime, but they are holding the Ayatollah's picture in the capital city of Great Britain.
And for those of you who don't know, that is the leader of the Islamic State. The people who call Britain Satan and America the Great Satan and want to completely destroy us. The Iranians that are coming over, many of them, are saying that they're running from, hardships whilst promoting a terrorist.
But, I just start talking to people and they are antagonized by my question, which is I'm asking...
By you, as a journalist and an Iranian, asking simple questions.
Yeah, I'm just asking them, are you Iranian? When they saying, yeah, when they carrying the Islamic Republic flag, I'm just asking them, are you Iranian? When they say yes, I ask them, okay, are you supporting Islamic Republic? Are you supporting what they done to Iranians beginning of this year? More than 80,000 people get killed by the Islamic Republic. Are you supporting them? Some of them saying, unfortunately, saying yes, peaceful protest,
So just to be clear, that is the supporting of the murder of tens of thousands of peaceful protesters who are demanding democracy at the start of this year.
Absolutely. This is absolutely what they're saying. I interviewed a kid, I think he was around 10 years old. I asked him, are you Iranian? He said, yes. And I'm asking, are you supporting Islamic Republic? He asked his mother, what should I say in Persian? He said, what should I say? His mother said, say yes. He said, yes, I support. And I asked him, do you support what the Islamic Republic done to us, to the Iranians? More than 80,000 people get killed. And she answered, say yes.
You see how deeply these people indoctrinate their children? They teach them to hate us whilst in our land. How is that acceptable?
How they educate their children in this country. This is really disgraceful. This is really, something like alarm, big alarm to British society. They have to see that. I have all the actual footage on my phone. but I don't have a time because I get assault at that time.
So as a journalist asking questions, you were physically assaulted by this peaceful protest?
Yeah, the actually Metropolitan Police officers, they came around me and say, can we have a word with you? They just take me to the side next to the barrier, and they try to forcing me, to take me out of, the protest.
And you know what? This is actually very relevant, and I'll explain to you why. Maybe we'll even go over this footage that I'm referencing right now in the future. But I've seen footage of the police holding back patriots, right? Or isolating them, one person by themselves, and then allowing, or quote unquote, allowing the left to come between the police and the patriot with banners and flags, whilst another person comes around the back, throws like smoke grenades or whatever you want to call them, and then attack them. And the police are just like not using all of their force to get to this patriot who's being attacked. And from my perspective, it looks as if they don't care about this guy. Maybe we'll go over that footage in the future, but let's finish this out and then I'll show you some even more crazy news.
And they asked me, can you please, for your safety, we asking, come out. I said, I'm with you right now and I feel safe with you. They are all focusing on me, around 30 police officers, just focusing on me and talking to me. And unfortunately, between lots of police officers, someone from behind came, just grabbed my neck and just, pulling me back. And the barrier, metal barrier, actually hit my ribs, which is, I had a hairline broken on my ribs.
A fracture.
Yeah, exactly.
So he literally has a hairline fracture because of this. And yeah, it was Fred. Yes, absolute. It was Fred. And maybe we'll go over that footage, but crazy what's going on. And France has got to the point now where the Muslims are blocking the streets and blocking people's homes, so they can't even get in their homes now. This is crazy. Look.
An ordinary French citizen who was watching the Islamization of Paris decided that the world needed to see what was happening to his city. So he bought a hidden camera and started posting the videos on YouTube. His life has been threatened, and so we're concealing his identity. He uses the alias of Maxime Lepont.
They are blocking the streets with barriers. They are praying on the ground, and the inhabitants of this district cannot leave their home nor go into their home during those prayers. The Muslims who are taking over those streets do not have any authorization. They do not go to the police headquarters, so it's completely illegal.
These Muslims have been granted unofficial rights that no Christian group is likely to get under France's laïcité or secularism law.
So it says people have the right to share any belief they want, any religion, but they have to practice at home or in the mosque, synagogues, church.
I mean, is it really a religion at this point, or is it a political ideology? What do you think?
And so on.
Some say these Muslims must pray in the street because they need a larger mosque. But Maxime has observed cars coming from other parts of Paris, and he believes it's a weekly display of Muslim power.
What an absolute joke, right? That they apparently have to pray in the street because they don't have enough space in their mosques. What? If you go into mosques, I don't recommend it, but if you go in and just take a look, most of the time they're completely empty, right? Completely empty. And even when they're out praying on the street, the mosques are empty. So it's nothing to do with that. And it's absolutely embarrassing. I don't know if you guys heard about the story of the 12-year-old girl who was raped by the Muslim a while back. Well, recently he got convicted, and I want to show you that story real quick. But the crazy thing about this story is that he didn't actually get deported. They refused to deport this guy. Like, why is he still in this country? Take a look at this. This lady, expresses how she feels about it quite openly.
Afghan asylum seeker Ahmad Mulakil, who abducted, raped, sexually assaulted a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton in Warwickshire, has now been jailed at Warwick Crown Court for 15 years. 15 years? Is that enough? Why don't we send him home and see?
Exactly. Why don't we?
How he would be treated back in Afghanistan by the Taliban. I'm sure 15 years in jail here would seem like a nicer alternative. But yet again, another story, empirical evidence of what open door immigration is doing, particularly to young girls. What do we think? These people come out of somewhere like Afghanistan where we know how the Taliban treats women, and I don't know, they land on the shores of Dover and suddenly wear Me Too movement t-shirts, can't wait to stand up for women's rights. And don't you start Sir Keir Starmer saying, I'm so disgusted at myself by allowing Mandelson to become the American ambassador, particularly when I'm such a champion of women and girls. No, you're not.
Have you noticed this as well? Like these politicians all across the Western world who are just completely corrupt, they will basically enable this type of event to take place, this atrocity to take place. And then they'll come out and say, oh, they're disgusted by it. And the next week they're giving money to these organizations or giving money to support certain communities who have been involved in, well, radicalizing people. Unreal.
You didn't want an inquiry into the blimmin' grooming gangs, did you? Because the Labour Party have likely been complicit in many walks of life in covering that up, aiding and abetting one of the sickest scandals to happen, not just in this country's history, but anywhere in the world. You don't stand up for women and girls, Prime Minister. You don't care. At the very least, you're weak. I don't hear you condemning constant sex attacks by these arrived yesterday people who come from deeply misogynistic societies. Where is the outcry when another 12-year-old girl has her life indelibly ruined by somebody who's entered this country, lives off the taxpayers' buck that you allow them to take? And when we try and stand up to it, when we want these asylum centres closed, when we want the end of migrant hotels, when these men of unknown origins are being bussed into the local towns to sit on park benches and perv over girls and try and take photos of them, or go and sexually assault them on Bournemouth Beach, are you doing anything about it? Are you saying we're going to relocate them to...
No, of course they're not. And you know what they are doing? We'll get to this in a moment, but I just want to throw it out there. They're apparently trying to give Sadiq Khan, yeah, the guy who has allowed the Islamification of London, they're trying to give him the title of Lord. Can you believe this? We'll get to it.
Military bases, yes, but are you going to make sure that the perimeter fences of those bases are actually used to prevent these people going wandering around and causing havoc in our societies? And it's not just havoc, is it? This is the worst kind of thing. A society that cannot defend its daughters, for crying out loud, its little girls, is not a civilized society. Oh, you may stand there and say that you're the champion of women and girls. What sort of champion of women and girls appoints someone like Jess Phillips to be the person who is in charge of safeguarding? Oh, where's the brilliant track record of standing up in the face of the offences committed by those who come into this country from vastly different cultures? No, when it comes to the safety of women and girls, we all know what comes first. Multiculturalism. Diversity is our strength. Every single hypocrite who professes to be some sort of feminist and turns a blind eye to news stories such as that, you should not be able to sleep at night. You absolutely disgust me, you vile hypocrites.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of British people feel exactly as she does, but they just don't express it as openly as her. I know this is Italy right now. The Italian people looking off their balconies like, wait, what happened to our country? What happened? Yeah, this is what we see all across the West as well. We see it on London Bridge. We see it on Tower Bridge, them walking across it, smacking themselves, and just basically taking up the entire street to do this. I mean, if they really want to do this, why don't they go into their house and do it? Why don't they just gather in a mosque and do it? Well, because that's not the actual intention of it. It's always an outward display of something else. Jesus Christ told us about it. Don't be like the hypocrites who go on the street and do this kind of thing. Pray in secret, you know, worship in secret. Anyway, I want to show you this now, because this right here is crazy. This is what is happening in schools. There was this leaked audio of a teacher basically trying to brainwash British children into thinking that if you put up a flag and you're against illegal immigration, that you're somehow, well, look, it says here, You're somehow this. Yeah. Apparently you are this if you are against illegal immigration and you put up the British flag.
Something that is really important to mention, because it is something that I hear quite a lot. We are not saying that the England flag is an inherently racist symbol. However, for some people, it is currently being used as a way to make migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers feel unwelcome. So we've seen the rise of lots and lots of these flags all around Manchester and all around the UK.
Before I continue this, I want to ask you, how would you feel if your child was listening to this from their teacher? How would you feel about that, honestly? And what would you do about it? What do you think is the best thing to do about that?
Particularly in areas where asylum-seeking hotels have been present. So we've seen the rise of this in Parkinson. In fact, there is a very similar-looking set of lampposts that look like this. And again, we aren't saying that this is an inherently racist symbol. However, unfortunately for some people, it has been used to do that. An example of this I'm going to show you in a moment is from a protest that I attended in Fallowfield. I attended to oppose the views of people who were trying to make those people inside the hotel feel unwelcome, and I stood on the opposite side. And unfortunately, this is what we saw.
Well, just to be realistic, like, are we supposed to be welcoming illegal migrants into the country? Is that what they want us to do? They want us to welcome illegal migrants into the country? They're called illegal for a reason, because they broke the law. They are ultimately criminals. We shouldn't be welcoming them, right?
Those people waving England flags and Ireland.
Or am I missing something? Do you know what I mean?
Those people waving England flags and Ireland flags in this case, some of them were using Nazi salutes and throwing very racist abuse towards the people coming inside and outside of their hotel, which was their current home. So
you see that they tried to brand everyone who was putting flags up as even if there was such thing as what she claimed there, she's trying to brand it as everyone who does that. At least that's how it comes across to me. It's like trying to just muddy the waters.
Why is this an issue that we are so concerned about? I had a discussion with our EDI ambassadors, who are year 10 and 11 students, and this is what they said. So the flags around Parkinson might be feeling threatening or unwelcoming for people from different backgrounds. A lot of people don't really understand what this flag is representing at the moment, and it's important that we discuss this issue to make sure that everybody understands what these protests mean and how they might make people feel who are from a different background, even if they are not an asylum seeker.
Unreal.
So if you could pause here, Paul Cheeks, and just go through the key definitions. We've got migrant, refugee, and asylum seeker. They are all different. They all have different legal rights, and it's important that we are able to distinguish between the two, because often they are used interchangeably as if they are the same, and they are not. Okay, so can you just read for yourself?
So there you go. They're basically determining what people want and what people are based on if they put up a flag and if they're against illegal immigration. Just utterly disgusting to paint everybody with this, stigma. They're trying to stigmatize people. I was talking earlier about Sadiq Khan apparently being given the title of Lord. Unbelievable. But here's the full story in a quick 3-minute clip, so you get the gist of what's going on. It hasn't been verified yet. It hasn't been confirmed, but there's some theories going around, and they're quite detestable, to say the least.
Seriously, and then I saw that the FT was saying it, and I thought, oh, good God, this can't be right. I mean, I do despair. What on earth are the British public going to think?
I'll tell you what the British public will think. And you know, Susan, a lot of people that tune in here love the honesty. 1 or 2 people go, really? I'm allowed to give my opinion. It's an opinion-based radio and television station. I believe that this is an absolutely cynical act by Starmer, okay, to negate the impact of the Green Party's rise, which they have unashamedly admitted is down to procuring the Muslim vote. I genuinely believe that that is a criticism that is entirely possible to be levelled at Starmer and this news this morning.
I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, if it's true, and we haven't had confirmation that it's
They
true.
haven't denied it, Susan. They haven't denied it.
No, I know, and that makes it even more worrying. I mean, the mayor is supposed to be running this beautiful city, London, with a £24 billion budget. He hasn't got time to do anything else. If he does,
I mean, he's absolutely destroyed London. I lived there for my whole life and I left because of how disgusting it became. The other week I went back and I was genuinely going to go live or make a video and show you what it looked like in certain places of London where it didn't used to look like that. And I started recording and I was like so disgusted. I stopped the recording and was like, you know what? People already know. People already know how vile it is. You can look on Twitter anyway, but it's disgraceful.
does go into the Lords, then the only hope we have is that he would then resign and not be mayor, and we'll have another mayoral contest. But I suspect he wouldn't. He'd keep that, go into the Lords. I mean, it could be the fact that Keir Starmer knows that Khan wants to be the PM, and it might be a way of getting him out of the way, because if you're in the Lords, you can't be PM.
That's an interesting analogy. I hadn't thought about that one from Susan Hull. Oh, give him a lordship.
Yeah.
Can you not be? You can't be prime minister if you're the Lord in the Lords. No, because you've got to be in the Commons.
No, you've got to be in the Commons. Now you've made me think, but no, I'm sure that's right. So it would be a way of getting rid of another person that wants his job.
Maybe you see, I missed that. Maybe that's really clever because we've checked it. You're absolutely right. But also, one thing's for sure: Sadiq Khan, he'll tell me I'm wrong. Would he win an election? I can't see him winning it. Well, maybe in London he would. Would he win a seat in London?
Oh yeah. Before we get on with this clip, I want to address this. Look up what the EU voted for remigration. That's actually my previous live stream. If you check that out after this one, yeah, we went into depth about that.
I don't know. I think from knocking on doors, which obviously I'm a politician, that's what we're doing now. We've got the locals. The Labour vote seems to have collapsed. And you're right, the Labour vote is going to the Greens. And I have to say, on your programme, I think the Greens are really dangerous.
Oh, yeah. You don't need to worry about that. I mean, I said in Gorton and Denton, any other party should have grabbed a distraught mother whose son has died from a heroin addiction delivered by drug dealers who infiltrate this country, and I'd have knocked on every door. This is a party that wants to legalize heroin, give up our weapons, thinks it can get on a plane and go to Russia, shake Putin's hand because he's a decent man. He's a joke, Dave Polanski.
Yeah, don't forget, I work with them on the Assembly. I mean, they've gone from tree huggers and environmentalists to something quite different. And whilst we laugh and in political terms, we think, well, they'll take votes away from Labour. Of course they were.
And yeah, the Green Party is one of the most dangerous parties in the UK right now because they are basically a left-wing party that has been infiltrated by Islam. It's very obvious. And the unholy alliance, as many call it, of the left, of communists, of socialists, and Islam coming together has allowed this infiltration to take place. It's very dangerous.
I'm afraid this is all too serious. And I feel sorry for the British public. I mean, I know politicians have got, really bad reputations, and in many cases they deserve it. But there are a lot of us out there that genuinely care, that genuinely want to make a difference. And these clowns are tarring us all with the same brush. They're money grabbing. Keir Starmer is literally the worst PM I've ever known.
Yeah, for sure. 100% he is. And, is this man here that they want to give the title Lord to? A guy who, you're going to see in this clip how much of a hypocrite he is, right? For those of you who don't know, it's already been proven that Uber drivers, which are technically taxis, were being used to groom young girls in certain areas by Muslims. And Sadiq Khan, in this clip here, he shows his hypocrisy. It is unbelievable.
2 assault claims were made against employees of Uber over the past 12 months. That's roughly one every 11 days.
I'd be very surprised if the TfL team weren't looking at all those sorts of issues, because all those issues are issues that have been raised by stakeholders and are issues that, are issues that affect whether an operator has their license renewed.
Do you have any understanding of why Uber drivers are accused of sexually assaulting or raping customers almost 3 times a month?
Well, the police are looking into this. I mean, there are.
Wait, no. Let that settle in. Uber drivers are accused of raping their customers at least 3 times a month. 3 times a month. And have you ever got into an Uber? And I'm not saying this in a rude way, just objectively. Have you ever got into an Uber and the guy being called John or Jacob or Smith, or Philip? I haven't. Every time I've ever used an Uber, which isn't very often, it's been Mohammed or Sadiq or, you know what I mean? Just saying.
Sexually assaulting or raping customers almost 3 times a month.
Well, the police are looking into this. I mean, there are. I mean, this is information that we publish on an annual basis. The numbers of people, private hire vehicle drivers and black cab drivers who have criminal action taken against them.
I can count on one hand the black cab drivers who've been prosecuted or convicted of crimes like this. And when the Sun submitted their freedom of information request to Transport for London, the results were astonishing.
No, listen, one is one too many. I mean, you're talking about 30 plus. One is one too many. And that's why I said one of the things that TfL will look into when it comes to whether an operator gets the license or has it renewed is conduct.
You have teenage daughters. Would you let them get an Uber?
Well, I don't generally talk about my family, but I will in this case because obviously it's relevant. My 2 daughters who are teenagers haven't got an Uber app. Anybody who knows me and my wife will know we spend a lot of our time being minicab firms.
We all know that. But if they said, I'm going to get an Uber, Dad, I'll put it out there. My eldest is 11, so she's a bit young. If she was 14, I'd say, no, you're not. Here, take some extra money. You're getting a black cab.
Well, we pick them up.
I want an answer to this. Would you let them?
No, I'm not going to be hypothetical. Our daughters aren't allowed to take a cab. We pick them up, drop them off. Other parents do.
You see how unreal this is, right? He knows exactly what's going on. He wouldn't even let his own daughters get in an Uber, but he tries to turn the attention away from Uber drivers onto black cab drivers when they haven't actually been convicted of these things. They aren't being accused of these statistics, and these statistics aren't relevant to them. This guy is a disgusting guy, honestly, absolutely disgusting. By the way, thank you so much for the support, Rob. We got a lot more to go through, but yeah, my emails are literally flooded. It's very hard to get back to people through email, but God bless you, and thank you so much for your very generous support. Greatly appreciate it. Goes a very long way, mate. Thank you. Now, when we look at why this is taking place across the Western world, America, we're going to get into even deeper information in a bit, but you'll see that it's because they are openly being allowed to advocate for this level of evil. Take a look.
There's nearly 7 million American Muslims right now, alhamdulillah. Let's take gratitude in the fact that we're here in the great state of Florida. Part of power building is building a pipeline of leaders. I want to see, inshallah, one day governor of the state of Florida is a Muslim. Everybody say inshallah. The House has Muslims in there. Say inshallah. Senators, Muslim senators, say inshallah.
Muslims are men who defend themselves. They defend their religion. They defend their principles, what they believe in. They don't apologize about jihad.
You hear that? And this is being preached from American soil, from British soil, from Australian soil, Canadian soil. This level of insanity.
They're not afraid of jihad. It's a part of who we are. The Muslim is an individual who, part of his rojula, being a man, is not our wives do jihad. We do jihad.
There you go. And they're telling you they want to take over the positions of power. They want to have the Florida state. They already have the New York state under control now, don't they? With Mamdani, who we'll be getting to later, because recently his wife got very, very exposed about some of her past, and the black community in America, in New York, are very, very upset about it. You know, Japan have, I believe it's Japan or Korea. Yeah, Korea, sorry. They have had enough. They really have had enough. And this is what they've resorted to right now. Let me know what you think about this.
These are the big heads which they have placed. And this is our temporary prayer place.
This video was filmed by our observer, a student from Pakistan who is attending Kyungpook National University in South Korea. He is one of a few dozen Muslim students at the university who are hoping to open a mosque. They got official permission 2 years ago, but have faced opposition from local Koreans.
So they actually organized
what does this say?
Permission 2 years ago, but have faced opposition.
It says, oh, they're basically calling Islam evil and saying it's a religion that kills people.
From local Koreans.
So they actually organized a barbecue party right outside the mosque gate. The main aim of them is like to make us irritated. We will be passing by, so they will call us terrorists. And they also placed English, like the banners in English. You can see that our prayer is going on, and like they are constantly playing this music. These are the big heads.
So there you go. That's what Korea are doing, because they don't want mosques being set up across their country. So they're basically making it uncomfortable for that to take place. They're playing loud music outside. And to be honest, this has been happening in the opposite way towards non-Muslims continually anyway. Blasted prayer sounds from the mosque, call to prayer, whatever it's called, in Leicester, I believe it was. I showed you the clip a few months ago where the people were being woken up 5 a.m. and whatever times of the day, 5 times a day. Unreal. And this is now the state of London Central Park or Hyde Park. And, you know, it's like, it's not rude to want to preserve your culture. It's not disrespectful to want to keep a Christian country, to have the freedoms that we have, to have the peace that we have, the joy that we have as Christian people, where agnostics, atheists can live without feeling pressured to be a Christian. We preach in love, but that's not what it's like in an Islamic state. They want to completely take over and dominate and subjugate people. It's not kind. It's very, very disrespectful.
We've allowed Islamism to grow in our country, and that is the fundamental problem. And now I have called for a Trump-style revolution. That is what we need in Britain. That is what we need in Europe, because most people in our country don't agree with all this stuff. They want to have a family. They want to buy a house. They want a nice car. They want to go on holiday. They want to live in a Christian country.
Exactly.
They don't want their country taken over. We've allowed...
And is that such a bad thing? I think that's a good thing, right? We want to just have a peaceful life, a happy life, you know, love one another, be kind to one another, be able to walk down the street and be how we want to be. If a woman wants to wear shorts and a t-shirt, she can. If a man wants to wear, you know, no top, walk down the street, he can. If you disagree with it, you can disagree, but you're not going to have stones thrown at you for it. You know what I mean? It's very shocking that the Western world has gotten to this point. Let me know what you think. Do you think the United Kingdom needs a Trump-style immigration system? Or do you think it needs to be even more? Because Rupert Lowe is the only politician right now that I believe is going to really, really do what needs to be done if he gets into power. Not saying I'm against the other parties on the right, but I think that Rupert's policies are the most upfront and they will get the job done. I mean, look, people in America have been brainwashed so much now. Not all of them, obviously. There's a lot of very wise American people who are aware of what's going on, but they think that ICE are fascists. Take a look at this.
No thoughts. You guys are the foot soldiers of a fascist regime, right? Is that not what it is? Is that funny? Is that funny? No thoughts.
Like, how stupid do you have to be to believe that?
You guys are the foot soldiers of a fascist regime, right? Is that not what it is?
Yeah, crazy. Unbelievable, honestly. And in the United Kingdom, it's still happening, by the way. People are getting knocks at the door in the middle of the night because they worded something in a way that was deemed against the law. Yeah, you have to be very careful in the UK how you word things now. And take a look at this.
Could you identify yourselves, please?
BC 4199 Lewis. This is BC 1556 Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, I need to explain to you. If you don't come to the door, okay, we'll have to put it in.
And could you explain what you're doing?
I'll explain what you're down here.
Okay, and you didn't tell me that you're recording?
No, my body was active now.
Okay, and you both were. Yeah. And what's the other officer, please?
PC 1556 Jackson.
And which office, which police station are you from?
Oh, no, can you please come to the door?
Okay, so are you recalling me to prison?
Would you please come to the door?
Can you answer my question,
If
please?
you don't come to the door, we'll be putting it in, okay?
You told me that, and I've had that before.
Please
So,
come to the door.
could you tell me, are you recalling me to prison?
Come to the door, please, Alex.
You're refusing to answer.
I'll explain to you when you're down here and you open the door to us.
Can you open the door for us? Can you imagine, yeah, like going back 10, 15 years, right? And telling people, oh, by the way, in about 10, 15 years, the police are going to start arresting people for putting memes on Twitter. People be like, yo, that's a South Park episode. But that's reality now.
I will make one phone call to my barrister.
Yeah, absolutely shocking. That's the state of the UK right now. And women in salons can't even just do their job. Be a woman in a salon who wants to just cut hair, do whatever they do, threading, massages, and that kind of stuff, without this type of scenario now happening. And I agree with the lady. Let me know if you agree with this lady, because I don't think that women should be pressured by Muslims to have to massage them.
How much money are these visitors really getting from our government? I know I can't afford to go out casually on a Friday afternoon and just walk in somewhere and demand a massage, but that's just what's happened here in my salon. Yep, you heard it. So my customer comes in and she asks to use the toilet. The toilet is downstairs. So I'm sat here waiting for her to come up. One of those walk in wearing clothing similar to what I've seen in Oman or Bahrain, you know, the long white dress thing, comes straight up to reception and says, massage. I said, no.
Ew, that is disgusting, dude. I can actually imagine that happening. How vile to walk up to a woman and just say massage.
Massage. I said, no. And he went, no, you massage me. I went, no, don't massage men, ladies only. And then he seemed quite angered. His face changed. And I thought, go on, make my day, because I've got my version of deep heat just in front of me. Because I've been attacked in the salon before. I'll do a TikTok about that. That was years ago. Massage me. No, we're ladies only. Weird, he said. I lost my with him. I said, you're weird.
Yeah, no, he is weird, right? What do you think? What do you men and women think in the chat? What do you think about this situation? Because that is more than creepy to walk up to a woman and say massage. And then when she says no, women only, to call the woman weird. What a creep, honestly. What an absolute creep.
And then my customer started coming up the stairs and he was sort of like, oh, there's someone else here. And I just said to her, are you all right? And she went, yeah. And he started walking out the door. Really does make me wonder how much this government are giving them aliens. Because I've got customers that haven't been back in forever because they don't have a disposable income, because things like massages are deemed as luxury, not an essential. And he's just walked in asking for a massage. I've got friends that go to food banks. I know somebody who's disabled and the government are trying to take away his benefits and make him go to work. He cannot work. He's disabled. It really makes me sick because these people, they come here illegally. They've committed a crime, entered the country illegally. Then they're getting 5-star hotels. Oh, which phone do you want? An iPhone? An Android? 3 meals a day, not paying any gas, water, electricity, no rates, nothing. Gym memberships, driving lessons, DJ lessons, theatre tickets, football tickets, the list goes on. This country is a joke. Keir Starmer is a joke. We are the laughing stock of the world. Make sure that you're registering to vote. Make sure you've registered, because we have to vote for change.
We really do. We need a change in this country and across the whole Western world. But regarding this situation here, I believe it's unbelievably shocking that these illegal migrants are being given free healthcare, free dental care, enough money to walk into a young lady's salon and say massage. Like, he can actually afford that. He couldn't even afford a plane ticket. He came on a boat, but somehow he can afford a massage once he gets here. What's going on with that? How's that even possible? You know, the Belgians have had enough of it. So yeah, the Belgians have had an absolute enough of this now, because their country, some are claiming, is even worse than the UK right now. Apparently Sweden's worse than the UK right now, and France as well, which, as someone living in the UK, is pretty shocking to me, because it's terrible here right now. But yeah, Belgium are really just like, we need to sort this out. We need remigration now. We can't wait 4 years. It has to happen right now. And Trump, he's somebody who is actually very open about stating just facts at times. I want to show you this clip, how he references the fraud in from the Muslim Somali community.
From Iowa to Idaho and from Minnesota, from
Oh, it's very, very quiet. But basically, this is a quote what he said. He said, "We'll get Minnesota back. We'll take it back from Somalia." So in other words, he's saying they've been invaded by Somalia. And this all came to light when this young man, who many very strange people have been trying to discredit recently, exposed the Somali fraud. And I want to show you this short clip, like a little segment from this video here, that is very insightful and also very wise. For his age, he's very wise.
They steal our dollars, and then they send it overseas, and once it's overseas, we can't ever get that money back. And that's something that I've learned as I've gone about exposing this fraud. And a lot of times, these people that are taking our tax dollars are foreigners who are not even from the United States of America, and they're stealing our money. And it's just been so crazy to see how in all 50 states there is fraud.
Yep.
However, it seems to be that most of the fraud is in a lot of these blue cities. And when you go out and expose the fraud, I mean, I think Gavin Newsom, he posted a photo of me the other day and had 10 cameras on me, an AI-generated image saying, "Where are the kids?" trying to depict me as a pervert for exposing fraud.
You see how weird that is? This young man is exposing the fraudsters, exposing criminal activity, and Gavin Newsom is mocking him and trying to paint a false image of him. And that's exactly what these cowards do. They are narcissistic, they are evil, they are manipulative, and they try to confuse people. And sadly, the weak and vulnerable, many of them have fallen for it. And that's why you see very vulnerable people on the left being taken advantage of. They're actually victims of a very, very deep psychological game that these narcissistic people play. But anyways, let's keep watching.
How sick does a governor have to be to say that the kid exposing the fraud is the bad person versus the fraudsters that are stealing the money?
Exactly. Unreal.
And going through this experience of exposing this fraud, I finally came to understand why, for instance, why they attack Elon Musk so hard, why they burn down his factories, or why they burn down his cars, or why they attack him so much when he was simply exposing fraud to help every single citizen. Well, it just happens to be that these politicians don't want the fraud to be exposed because they're involved in the fraud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is very likely, right? The reason why these politicians don't want the fraud exposed is because they're most likely implicated in the fraud. So back to these insane people in America. I want to talk about this lady, Nardine Kiswani. And this claim here is from Vivid. They said that she is a terrorist living in America. She is one of the most disgusting, pathetic human beings I've ever seen. She has been relentlessly calling for the killing of Jews and complete abolition of the state of Israel. And I want to show you this clip because the fact that this can be advocated, which is clearly an attempt to radicalize the youth in America, and it can take place openly like this without her being arrested, without her being going through legal battles for this, is shocking to me because this is one of the most open displays of attempted radicalization and escalation that I have witnessed in America.
We must escalate!
Nardine Kiswani, the infamous leader of Within Our Lifetime.
Palestinians will only get justice when Israel ceases to exist.
She played an integral organizational role at the encampment and incited students to escalate.
These are the types of actions!
These are the types of actions
that we should be taking! We must escalate! We must escalate!
Now, I want to say this as well, because I've been reading a lot of books recently on psychology. And this is one of the techniques that has been used throughout history, is getting people to repeat chants in order to brainwash them. And even when these people go to sleep, they will hear these chants. That's part of the very deep psychological war games that these people play. And it's actually quite disgusting. The more you look into it, the more abusive it actually is. And that's what we see happening on the left continually. Have you noticed every rally they go to, they're chanting some slogan that someone's come up with. And yeah, we're seeing this over and over again. Meanwhile, the Green Party have recently been exposed in a very serious way, allegedly. The Green Party activists have described Jewish people as an abomination to this planet in a string of anti-Semitic WhatsApp messages the Telegraph can reveal. So I did check this out, and there is an entire article about this. But yeah, apparently they actually have a WhatsApp group where they've been exposed now. Doesn't shock me at all because these people are literally the Muslim party now of the United Kingdom. But yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Surprised or not at all? Also, in some more breaking news, Keir Starmer sides with Iran's regime, apparently. I'm not surprised at all. Hamas and Hezbollah at the UN to gain Muslim votes at home. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is for those of you who only recently got here. At the beginning of the live stream, I showed this footage. I'll go through it real quick now. It's only 40 seconds or so. But this right here is a UN location. And what you're seeing is terrorists, Hamas terrorists, approaching the UN vehicles with AK-47s around their shoulders. Okay? I'm going to skim through it because if you want to see it, you can go to the very beginning of the live stream and check it. But you'll also see here, right? He gets his AK-47. He walks up to this white vehicle, throws it in there, and allegedly heads in for a day at work. Look, this is a United Nations building right here. Why is this taking place? So here's the connection that I was talking about in the title of this video, connecting the dots. Keir Starmer now has apparently sided with the Iranian regime, Hamas and Hezbollah at the UN to gain Muslim votes at home. Why would that happen? Why would they want this to happen? Well, obviously, there are commands coming from somewhere. You let me know if you know where they're coming from. But they're obviously coming from somewhere, right? To cause these people to behave in such a traitorous way. You know, forget about international geopolitics for a second. Just British soil, right? And if you're American, you think about your soil. Wherever you're from, just think about your home country right now. Why would your own president or prime minister betray its own native population? Unless there was an agenda or a goal coming from somewhere else. I don't know any plausible explanation for that than that, right? It has to be either infiltration or destruction. If you got any other theories, let me know. But there seems to be a big connection between the UN and what takes place at all of these little meetings behind closed doors with presidents and and these types of people as well. Exactly. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate your input. I really do appreciate your input. And also, thank you so much for your very generous support there, Rachel. God bless you. Greatly appreciate that. Goes a very long way, honestly. Now, here's what I was talking about earlier, okay? Mamdani, the current Muslim mayor of New York City, which in my opinion is an infiltration of the American government. That's my personal opinion. I mean, if you rewind history just a little bit and remember what happened in New York, shocking, right, that this is even taking place. But allegedly, black people were asking why we didn't know about Mamdani's wife's N-word tweets. And it says here, black folks are peed after Zohran Mamdani's wife's old tweets resurfaced, painting her in a problematic light with the black community. Now, all you have to do is look into Muhammad and you'll see exactly what his opinion was of black people. But yeah, we see a Muslim mayor with his Muslim wife, and now their past is getting dug up and his fake smile is getting exposed pretty rapidly. And this was a very, very interesting take, right? Because I didn't expect this, although I'm not surprised by it, but I didn't expect it. 50 Cent has come out against Islam. Yeah, that literally happened. 50 Cent came out the other day and he said, allegedly, there are 57 countries where you can live under Sharia law. If you want that, go to them. America will not become the 58th. Now, I don't know where he said this, but if this really did happen and he really said this, hallelujah for that. Hallelujah for that. That is truly great news. Brilliant news. And do you know what? The internet has been a terrible, terrible invention for Islam, because recently a lot of very well-educated people have been taking these Muslims up on the challenges they keep putting out. And I recommend you watch this clip because it's very educational and you can use this for yourself when you get approached by Muslims in the street and they try to persuade you about Islam. This debunks Islam, and there's much more that debunks Islam, but here's just a few examples.
I will leave Islam right now if...
Oh, wait, before I play this. Look at this, right? Once she got responded to, she didn't leave Islam, even though she claimed she was going to leave Islam. She just deleted the video and just stayed in Islam. Like, what's the point in making this then?
I will leave Islam right now if one person finds me a contradiction in this book.
Challenge accepted, but I'm not stopping at just one contradiction. I'm going to give you 5. Let's get started. The first contradiction comes from Quran 20:85, where we read that Moses was talking to a Samaritan woman. That is historically impossible because Moses was alive around 1200 BC, while the Samaritan people wouldn't even exist until 500 years later in 720 BC. The second contradiction comes from the question, can Allah forgive worshiping other gods? Here we read in Quran 4:48 that he cannot forgive people who worship other gods. But then right in Quran 4:153, we read, yes, he can forgive people who worship other gods. The third contradiction is found in Quran 10:3, where we read that it took 6 days for Allah to create the heavens and the earth. But then in Quran 41:9 through 12, we read that it took Allah 2 days to create the earth, 4 more days to bless it, and then 2 more days to ordain the 7 heavens, which is 8 days in total, not 6.
And anyways, we know their god is Satan anyway.
The next contradiction comes from Quran 20:124, where we read that disbelievers will be blind on the day of resurrection. But then in Quran 16:76, we read that they will see their partners. How can they see partners if they are blind? Finally, Quran 4:3 tells us that it is possible to deal justly with multiple wives. But then Quran 4:129 tells us, no, it is not possible. I cannot wait to see you leave Islam. I will tag you in this video to make sure that you see it and all of the contradictions that your lying prophet told. God bless.
This guy did a great job. I mean, and he did all of that without actually pointing out, the scientific falsehoods in the Quran, that sperm apparently comes from between the backbone and the ribs. And there's just so many errors in the Quran. It's a joke. What we need are leaders who are Christians, people who stand on good morals, perfect morals, love, peace, joy, these types of things. And I want to show you Vance, what he said recently, which I think is quite respectable.
Fighting at a time where we were about to enter as Christians the most important week of the Christian calendar, the Holy Week that celebrates the return of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem. And so I want to say to all of my fellow American Christians, but particularly those serving in the Gulf, that I wish you all a very blessed Easter, a very blessed Holy Week, and we continue to stand behind you and continue to support you every step of the way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's go. And we need more politicians being open about their faith like that, because we have Muslims in our lands continually calling for these types of things and openly telling us, right? I know that I've showed a lot of these clips, but remember, not everybody knows what you may know or what I may know. There's a lot of people who are just starting to realize that this is taking place. And the more evidence we can show for this, the more beneficial it is, and the more they can realize this is actually objective reality and something needs to be done about it.
I'll give you a kalima, one word, one phrase, La ilaha illallah. And with it, you'll conquer the Romans and the Persians.
You see, that's their goal. Their goal is to conquer. Okay, keep that in mind. Their goal is to conquer, not to go there and assimilate and be part of a culture. No, conquer it.
And some people, they couldn't believe it. It sounded too far-fetched. They scoffed. And those people, we only know their names. Sometimes if you see it in the footnotes of the books that you're reading about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they're literally the footnotes in his story. And other people, they took that kalima and they became Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali, and they conquered the Romans and the Persians. But the point is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he knew, he had that vision. He told them, he didn't tell them that he was.
Why do these people always sound so effeminate?
He knew, he had that vision. He told them, he didn't tell them that he was going to be there to conquer it with them. He didn't see that victory. He laid the foundation and then the victories came. Sayyidina Hamza, radiallahu anhu, he didn't live to see the conquest of Makkah al-Mukarramah. Sayyidina Mus'ab ibn Umair, radiallahu anhu, he didn't live to see the conquest of the Romans and the Persians. Sitna Sumayya, may Allah be pleased with her, the first martyr in Islam, she didn't live to see all the victories that came after that. But we say that.
So you have to read between the lines of what he's saying right now, right? Basically, what he's saying, if you think about it, is that these Muslims who are living today, who are saying they're going to conquer America, they're going to destroy Great Britain, they're going to take over Europe and persecute the Christians and etc., all of these weird claims they're saying. If you read between the lines of what he's saying is, don't worry if you don't get to see this in your lifetime, Muslims, because those Muslims in the past, they said that they was going to conquer those lands and they didn't get to see it in their lifetime. You see? So you have to read between the lines when you come across these weird people. They're ultimately saying they're going to take over the Western world no matter what. We are going to conquer the Western world. That's what they're saying. And it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. These people need to be sent back to where they came from. And if they are believing in these types of ideologies that want to conquer just peaceful nations because of an ideology from the 7th century, they should be stripped of citizenship, in my opinion.
Those victories belong to them too, because they paved the way for the people who came after. Having this view of ummah, it gives you a longer, more expansive, wider time horizon to have a better view of things. It gives us a wider expanse of view, a time horizon. It makes us understand that our actions matter. It makes us understand that victory is inevitable, insha'Allah.
No, defeat is inevitable for them. They're going to be defeated. They've always been defeated. We've watched that continually be repeated throughout history. They always lose. They just keep trying to push forward, and then they get pushed back further than they actually was in the first place. So the same thing will happen, and I believe this time it's going to be even worse for them, actually, because they've pushed too far in too many different places and upset too many people, and now the world is awake to it due to the internet. So it's not going to be at all. And once this time that ideology is defeated and removed from the Western world, it's going to be impossible for them to regain a foothold in the Western world, because people will be too educated about it. You know, it's like nowadays, you'll never have Nazis being able to get big ground in the Western world because everybody knows what a Nazi is. The same thing's going to happen with Islamism in the future, in my opinion.
So we imagine these times, someone who's just like you. And may Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq that we see the victory with our own eyes in our own lifetime, inshallah.
What an embarrassing thing. Thank you, Reese. I greatly appreciate that, my bro. Now, I want to show you this clip from the parliament, because we now have Christian members of parliament, by the way. If you haven't seen that video I uploaded a few months ago saying British politician destroys blasphemy law in parliament, you should check that out after this live stream. But here's the same man. I recommend you watching this. The same man just confronting the left, and they expose themselves in this clip.
Why is this government so afraid of the public? Why do ministers not trust the people? Why do they want to keep injustice, from the rape gangs to the serious criminals, getting away with a few brief years in prison, out of the spotlight? They sigh and they moan when I raise the rape gangs. This is exactly the mentality the country is sick of, and lay behind the failure to prosecute those cases.
You see that? How can somebody be so evil and so sick that when a man is standing up in parliament and talking about a very, very serious thing, the Muslim gangs that have raped women up and down the country, raped children up and down the country, look, they sit there with a smile on their face. Are you seeing this? If that's not demonic, what is? These people are literally scoffing at the fact that a man wants to look into the rape gangs, which are objectively true now. It's been proven. There are files on it, which they tried to destroy, by the way, as well. You know, Rupert Lowe recently said, after the start we've had at Restore Britain, I've never been more confident that we are going to take our country back. It is happening. It's happening. I agree. I agree that this is inevitable at this point, but we have to stick together as people. We have to unite. We have to not allow political opinions to divide us. Okay. And what I mean by that is, say you come across somebody and they're supporting Advance UK and you support Restore Britain. Don't attack them for it. Or they support reform. Don't attack them for it. Just have educated conversations and stick together and keep your focus on the goal, which is removing the destruction from our country, removing the infiltration from our country, because the enemy always wants to divide. That is a strategy that evil people have used throughout history, divide and conquer. So no matter what you believe, no matter what your political opinion is, make sure that you have the big goal as your focus and you operate in love with your friends, with your family, even if you disagree with them. Because the enemy will always try to put bigger and bigger divisions between you so that he can then like take them even further from the truth. So yeah, it's very important that we remember that. And yeah, make sure you're praying. If you're a Christian, pray for our country. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and you shall be saved. It's very important that we have that as the foundation of our country, Jesus Christ, truth. Whether you believe in him or not, he is the truth, and that foundation is very powerful. I want to show you Donald Trump, what he said recently. And it's kind of savage, but at the same time, he doesn't lie when it comes to this war stuff, or at least I haven't noticed him lie about this type of thing.
Stop looking for whatever we want, and we're hitting it, and we have another 3,554 targets left.
3,554 targets left, he said.
And that'll be done pretty quickly. And then we, at some point we're going to have to determine what we do. But they have, they've never.
So yeah, there you go. Donald Trump is telling you that he's going to strike apparently 3,554 more targets in Iran. And he said that will be done pretty quickly. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. He's really wanting to destroy the Islamic State. And this tweet here is definitely close to home. Bishop calls on King Charles to stand up for Christianity. I read the entire letter on a previous live stream. As fears grow over suppression of religion. And yeah, what is this guy doing? In my opinion, he's an absolute traitor, a coward, somebody who has the title of a king, but behaves like a slave. So y'all rebuke that guy, disgusting leader. And this young lady has a brilliant point, and she wants to bring awareness to this. I also do, but let's listen to her because she says it in a very smooth way.
Hi guys, so I'm just a little bit confused because I thought we were supposed to care about genocide, but I haven't seen a single leftist speak out even on a personal level about what's happening to Christians in Nigeria right now, much less entire protests in the streets or encampments that shut down universities. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what happened, back in 1999, 12 different Islamic extremist groups decided that they were going to declare Sharia law, and as a result, mass persecution of Christians began. There is yet to be a year where the death toll for Christians living there has been under 4,000, which is absolutely abhorrent. This year alone, the death toll has reached 52,000, with 32 at least being murdered each and every single day in some of the most gruesomely horrific ways one could imagine. For example, one of the main groups that's going around targeting Christians over there right now is Boko Haram, where they've been breaking into churches while people are trying to do their Sunday worship.
And we witnessed earlier people on American soil supporting these organizations. How is that allowed?
Tying people's hands behind their back, including that of innocent women and children, beheading them in front of one another, and then setting the church on fire. Much of this is on video, but I will warn you, it is absolutely devastatingly graphic, and it's something that you're never going to be able to get out of your head. So I'm going to ask you very nicely, why are you not outraged? Do you not care? There has been essentially a genocide of both Christians and Jewish people in the Middle East for a very long time now, where entire religious groups have been completely wiped out of certain Muslim countries, and you haven't said a word about it. So this would lead one to believe that you don't care about genocide, that you don't care about violent persecution of a specific group living in a country. All you care about is what you're told to care about on your For You page, through your social trends. You don't actually care about innocent lives. You care about tokenization for conflicts that you're far too stupid to even understand.
Yep, 100%. 100%. That's what I was saying. She said it very well. And we also see now that these lefties who claim to be social justice warriors and all these kinds of things, when you show them the Quran and you show them what's taking place in Islamic states and Islamic lands, they don't speak out about it. They don't want to address it because they're not really against, the persecution of humanity. What they're against is the right. What they're against are Christians. What they're against are moral values that surpass their understanding of even what morality is, because they're brainwashed and they just do whatever they're told to do. And that's why the Islamists try to use them, because they're very easy to use. Now, Ant Middleton came out and said the following: "This is just proof that corruption runs deep." He's talking about Sadiq Khan apparently getting the title of Lord. And Ant Middleton, for those of you who may be in America and not know who this is, he is one of the men who want to be the next mayors of London. And hopefully he does become the next mayor of London. He said, "This is just proof that the corruption runs deep, extremely deep, because Starmer's inability to read the room cannot be this dire." 100%, 100%. And if it is, then he is an embarrassment to just humanity in general at this point. He's an embarrassment to intellect. Do they not realize how despised they both are? Let Starmer and Khan walk the streets of London without security and see how far they get. The test of all tests. They'd both be dropped within a few yards, just as they should be from their current roles. You see, this is the type of mayor that we need in the United Kingdom. A man who is going to stand up for what really matters, call things out for what they really are, and not be weak, not be cowardly. Because who wants to follow a coward? Would you follow a coward into battle? You wouldn't, right? You would either step up to the plate and become the leader, or you would say, yeah, I'm not being involved in this situation at all, because it's just a stupid thing to do. But for some reason, our entire country is being led by cowards, it seems, and infiltrators and demons. And you know that story that I made a video on yesterday? If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend you do, about this young lady. It's the latest video on my channel. This is how the mainstream media are reporting on it. Spanish woman to die by euthanasia after long legal battle with father. What? What? How can the BBC? This is what really happened, right? That's what really happened. If you watch my video, you'll see all of the details. But this is what Sky News said is far closer. But why are they even trying to paint it in this way, the BBC? Diabolical evil at this point. Unbelievable. Anyway, I'll close out with this, everybody. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Psalm 118:11. They surround me on every side, but in the name of Yahweh, in the name of the Lord, I destroyed them. Praise Yah. And may everybody have a wonderful day. Know that we have the victory. We must stand together in truth continually. Lift your voice up like a trumpet. Be loving, even when you are being, strong. You can do both at the same time. Never bow to evil, and know that we already have the victory. Other than that, I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful day. If you want to support my ministry financially and want to get something in return, maybe check out my website, www.saintavs.com. I make these wallets myself, by the way. I think they're pretty cool. Maybe you want to grab one. And other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Shalom. Shalom.
Fear God. Deport evil. Get yours today at www.saintavs.com.